I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to try and edit together a bunch of videos of the different flower buds that seem to be appearing. This is a red maple flower bud. This season seems to go by so fast, it's nice to actually see something. Also called a swamp maple. It grows on this property because this property floods like crazy. So it does well. But there it is, a red maple flower bud. I'm going to do my best this year to finally identify this type of willow, but we got some willow buds. This is April 1st. This is a type of willow. It doesn't really have a trunk. This is more of a shrub style willow. So, willow bud. This may be fleeting, but this is a red osier bud. Whether these are the flower buds or the branches, I'm not sure. This was really hard to get in focus. But this has a scarlet branch, which is really beautiful in winter. You can cut them down pretty much in early spring and get brand new shoots. I just cut down old ones. But yeah, a red osier bud. This gets a white berry that chickens actually eat. Okay, this is an elderberry bud. These are probably branch buds rather than the flower buds. You can see the lenticels there, where the bark breathes. Very common. The elderberry is versatile. Very versatile. I've got a book that teaches you, gosh, 100+ things that you can do with elderberries. The flowers, the berries themselves. Even the wood. I believe you can make, like a fairy wand, flute sort of thing, because this stem has a pith to it that you can scrape out and it becomes hollow. So there's a branch flower bud of an elderberry. I will monitor these. I really like the elderberries. This variety, this American variety, has flowers that don't really have much of a scent, and the berries are tiny and to me don't have a lot of flavor. So I make a elderberry fizz from the flowers, which goes over well. Sure, I'm going to be able to get both in focus, but here we've got a catkin and a bud off of I think this is an Alnus incana. I'm just kind of going off nomenclature that I haven't studied in quite a while, so bear with me. This is more of like a shrub alder. It doesn't have a main trunk. This variety could also be kind of cut down and restarted. Let's see if I can get those. Kind of. Okay, wants to focus on that. Yeah, so an Alnus incana, a type of alder. The catkins are in the back, which are its flower. And this bud here, which might just be a branch bud. Alright, these look like the flower buds of a Boxelder. Or Boxelder, my bad. Which is the only compound leafed maple family species. This was considered a junk. It was considered a junk tree, but it holds on to its keys, the seeds with the wings that maples have, over winter, so it can be a food source for things. There are buds from a Boxelder. Real early stages of a pin oak bud. Well, I guess there's buds running up the branch, the twig as well. A common type of oak in this yard for some reason, the pin oak. The bottom branches have a very distinctive feature. They curl down like crazy. But there we go, a bud of a pin oak. Right here are some buds, lateral buds of a type of willow I'm not particularly sure of. This year I was going to spend some extra time doing my best to get to know the willow species on this property. So when things are in flower, I want to do kind of a flower run as well. So as things pop up in all the types of flowers, shrubs, trees, perennials, biennials, all that type of stuff. So more buds from I think a different type of willow. Are the early new leaves of an invasive honeysuckle species. In this yard, this doesn't go too crazy, so I don't spend much time trying to get rid of it. But there are the early leaf buds, or at least early leaves. This has to be the biggest nuisance in this yard. These look like buds of these are definitely buds of a smooth buckthorn. This is invasive like crazy. There are thousands of these on this property. I've taken a couple of years to knock them down, but they're like a hydra. You knock it down and you just get a lot of younger twigs that pop up. This is detrimental in a lot of ways for this area, for the wildlife, and for the other trees and plants. Grows crazy thickets. I know quite a bit of information on this, so when the stages of the leaves and stuff, and the leaves, the fruits, flowers, I'm going to keep an eye on that and do videos on them as it goes along. I'll do the bark as well at some point. Break one down. It has reddish roots or yellow roots, has kind of a yellow inner bark as well. So yeah, smooth buckthorn. Buds of a, excuse me, the buds of a virgin bower. This is a climbing vine. Just entangles a lot of the shrubs around here. This has a really interesting frilly flower. Don't mind the vehicles. So when that happens, I'll get a video of those as well. Particular elderberry variety on this yard flowers fruits before all the others. So here's an even quicker, or just even larger leaf, so leafing out. Alright, the bud of a Juneberry. I've never actually eaten the berries because the birds get to them before I can, but this is definitely the earliest flowering and fruiting tree in the yard. Here is a catkin of a white or gray birch. Guess I'll just leave it at that. Sorry. There's a lot of information I guess you could give about birch trees. And there are quite a few native species to my area. Buds of a quaking aspen or cottonwood. These are colony building trees. It takes a lot of seed to make a pound, but it usually will propagate itself by its roots and pretty much create clone forests. Real fuzzy looking thing. This is a bud off of a Staghorn Sumac. You can make pink lemonade out of this. The Staghorn comes from this, I guess, velvety appearance that I guess, deer get on their antlers. I'm going to try to create standards out of these this year, which just mean kind of lollipop shaped, so I can keep them within a certain height range. I think this rounds off the tree varieties and shrub varieties in this yard. This is a bud of a cherry tree. Now, what type of cherry? I think this is a black cherry. There are pin cherries, choke cherries, and black cherries that are native here. But this is definitely a cherry bud. More to come as the season goes along. Thanks for watching the video. I had fun making this. I did this all on the fly from just memory of learning these things kind of a decade ago. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll get back to you if you leave comments. Thank you. Bye. One more bud that was climbing up this tree. This is a wild grapevine. Probably some sort of frost grape. Concord, maybe? But, yep, a grape bud. Climbing up the cherry. Right before this one. Alright, bye. Alright, fake out again. This is an apple tree bud. I have apples in the yard. This is some sort of cultivated variety. Walking around the woods around here, though, you can find old orchards. So you just get tons of different varieties around here. But yeah, an apple bud. Just keep coming. This is a pin oak, but this one's farther along because it gets more sun and it's larger. So you can see kind of the scales on the buds of this. Okay, I finally think this is done. If I find any more... Oh darn, I think I actually have a pear tree in the yard too. Alright, that's next up. Alright, the bud on a pear tree. Now this is the last one. But there you are. The final bud of this video, I think. Alright, I know of two more. This, lilac buds. One of my favorites. I do my best to keep these well pruned throughout the year so I get as many flowers as possible. When that happens, I'll definitely show you. Okay, there's definitely one more I need to show. Now, there are ash trees that are kind of budding out now, but I'm not tall enough to get to those, so I'm going to show you one more. So I actually have two more. This is the bud of a Multiflora Rose, an invasive species in New York. The final bud, or at least the beginnings of the leaves coming out of a black raspberry. Very delicious. I try to take care of these. I've got to prune the old canes from last year and probably re-tie up the new canes this year.